Cousins' manager told the Undefeated that Boogie was in fact on the plane because he's relocating his rehab to Las Vegas. Scotty, how do you feel about Boogie not being at Game 1 and maybe doing all this other stuff?
You know what? I don't think it's a distraction. I mean, the man is traveling in a wheelchair. So do you really want him sitting courtside? I'm really fine with that.
I talked to the people at the Pelicans. They say he has been involved in being in touch with the players. Obviously, they'd prefer to have him there. But by the way, Coachella, you drive there from LA. You don't fly there. So he wasn't flying to Coachella.
I just like the idea. He was dancing a little bit in that Pelicans locker room after they clinched, so I'm good with that. Miss History. Raptors got their first ever win in a postseason opener on Saturday. And Brian, what does that mean?
It means that they're done with that streak and they don't have to hear about it for at least 10 more losses. So
you and I can't keep asking you about
I know it only means one game, but trust me, it meant a lot to the Raptors.
Feels good, right, Scotty?
That's great. I'm happy for Dwayne Casey. I mean, he's such a great coach. I'm happy to see that monkey get off his back.
All right, make business casual. Check out Swaggy P rolling up to Game 1 in boxers and a silk robe.
Wow.
Scotty?
I guess he just woke up late and had to get to the game quick.
Yeah, you know, it was like an afternoon game. Maybe he thought he was coming to shoot around, Rachel. Do you think he knew that it was the game? Or?
I mean, we've seen Swaggy in some serious outfits over the last couple of years, right? It was the staple of Lakers social media. And there you go, silk robe. In case you're ever wondering, you have your answer now. Miss Health. Donovan Mitchell's MRI today revealing a left foot contusion. According to the Jazz, they say his status Game 2 will be determined tomorrow. But I don't know, man. I don't see Donovan missing that game. Do you, Brian?
Well, I'll get worried about foot injuries, but as long as there's no broken bone in there, which is what I was worried about when he got stepped on like that, I think he'll be fine. I'm expecting him to have – he had a huge game by 27 points. I expect him to have a huge series, and I think the Jazz will bounce back. And I think the Jazz will win tomorrow with Donovan Mitchell.
Well, I hope they're not playing without him, but they definitely need him to be 100%. I mean, he is the catalyst for that team.
Yeah. Make no calls. There were a variety of, let's just call it no-call travels that occurred this weekend. Scotty, you were watching one of our highlights earlier, and there's video playing, so y'all at home couldn't see it, but Scotty's like...
I don't understand how the officials are not looking at that. Like, is there one official that his job is to watch the guy handling the ball? Like, how are you letting guys travel like this? And from a defensive standpoint, it's like it's an insult.
Right.
That you let a guy take 4 steps after he picked the ball.
See, I'd be upset because James Harden crosses guys over and they get made fun of for like the next 6 years. So I would be like, listen, if you're going to cross me over and make me get made fun of, at least make it a legal move.
Look, I think a lot of these are travels and should be called better. I just don't like it when fan bases whine about losing an entire game. Ooh, he traveled, right?
Here, Rachel. Here.
All right, Karl Anthony Towns scoring 8 points in his first career playoff game last night. After the game, Coach Tom Thiboudeau said Towns, quote, needs to be more active. And look at the numbers here. Let's look at the usage percentages from last night's game. Towns and Jimmy Butler having the ball a lot less than who? Derrick Rose. Highest usage rate among the players for the Wolves. Maybe it's Rockets defense, but don't think it's how the Wolves would have drawn it up ideally. Scotty, where do you see sort of the responsibility falling here? Is Towns need to do more? Does Coach Tibbs need to put him in a different position?
I think it's a little mix of everything. I think it's about the 5 guys that are on the basketball court. You understand that Towns is an all-star. You understand that he needs the basketball. He's the guy that's going to cause some confusion for the opponents. So you have to recognize that as a teammate, but Towns also has to be aggressive. I'm not going to blame this on Tibbs because Tibbs is coaching the game. You as players, you're out there, you know the situation, you know who are getting touches and who are not getting touches, but Towns has to be more aggressive when he gets the basketball and not be so passive.
This is a tough one for the Wolves because this was a game they could have had.
Yes.
Like, on one hand, I really am not going to get too worked up about what a guy does in his first career playoff game on the road, especially because I'm not surprised there was a letdown for the Wolves after everything they went through to qualify, even though they had some days.
Game on Wednesday.
I wouldn't have been surprised if they lost by 30 in that game. But they did, and it was right there. And so when you think of if Jimmy had a bucket more or two or Karl had a bucket more or two, that's what's so difficult. Tibbs is right, but it's also the guy's first ever postseason game and on the road. So I'm gonna give him a bit of a pass. But
Scotty, Shaq was on TV on TNT last night saying, as a big man, you have to demand the ball. You have to just put yourself in the middle and say you get called for 3 seconds, just dare the officials to keep calling you. What do players have to do on the court?
I mean, I agree wholeheartedly with what Shaq was saying, and basically saying Towns needs to run down and force his teammates to throw him the ball inside. He needs to force some 3-second calls to let them know that, hey, I'm in the paint, I'm open, get me the ball, or we're going to be playing defense a lot tonight. So as a player, Towns, he's got to come to those guards. He's got to come to Jimmy Butler and say, hey, I need the basketball. I need to be able to be effective in this game. And you can't say that after the fact. But in looking at it, it's game one. You're going to have some mistakes. They're a young team, and they just weren't able to correct those mistakes throughout the game. If you watch veteran teams, they're able to correct their mistakes throughout the playoff game. But give them credit. They played a great game, and as Brian said, that was the one that they should have stole.
So close. And Carl it's his first playoff game. This is how you learn. This is why the Wolves were so eager to get into the playoffs as a franchise, so you could start to build this kind of experience. Paul George, nicknaming himself Playoff P before game one. But you know what? He lived up to it. He led the Thunder with 36 points, made 8 of his 11 three-pointers. After the game, Playoff P said he hopes to bring it to that level on a nightly basis this postseason. He said the hoop looked as big as the fish he posted on Instagram earlier over the weekend. It's a pretty good fish. You do the trick though. You hold the fish a little closer to the camera. Right? I'm not besmirching Paul's fishing. He obviously knows what he's doing.
That man having fun in OKC, so don't try to expect him to leave. He's catching fish.
He's catching fish like that. Yeah. I mean, do you think some of the he said
yeah, you're saying that the Thunder stocked the lake with that fish.
Wow.
You know what? I would not put it past anyone in this league to free agent recruit like that.
He's probably thinking, I should have done that.
Should have done that. Look, there was a point late in the regular season where Paul was talking about his mechanics being off on his shot. Do you feel like that's done?
Obviously, he had a great shooting game. The thing about Paul George is, throughout his career, he has been an inconsistent shooter. There have been times where he's been red hot and times that he's been ice cold. The reason he's viewed as such a great player is because he's a playmaker with the ball and he's a great defender. Yeah. His shooting is always going to come and go. I think we have enough data to say. So on a night like this where he's hitting his outside shot, and this is one of the things he wanted to do this year was shoot more threes, he's obviously awesome. What will define him in this series, in this postseason, is what happens on nights when he shoots 35 or 40% from the field, because we know those are going to happen too.
Yeah, and my thing with Paul George is he's a lot like LeBron, very streaky shooters, but they are scorers, so they just have to stay aggressive, and I think their teammates are able to feed off of their play.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, coming up, the Pelicans stole game one in Portland. Was that win more about them or about the Blazers? Scotty, a former Blazer, will tell you when the Jump returns.